With the popularity of Studio Eclipse's adaptation of Berserk, I thought I'd revisit this. For the sake of this video, we're going to call it Berserk Millennium Falcon, and it's actually the second video game based on the manga Berserk. Its predecessor, Sword of Berserk, Guts' Rage, was released 5 years before this on the Dreamcast in 1999. Both Berserk games were created by Yuke's. There's a total of 6 chapters to this title, which covers part of the Millennium Empire arc, with some original stories sliced in too. I'm more than okay with original content as long as it fits the themes, and honestly, if I didn't tell you there was original content within this game, you probably wouldn't even pick it up. You'd think it was always meant to be there. A motion capture process was performed with some characters' movements, and it really shows nothing feels disjointed or unnatural. The Yuke's team took their time to cook, and they clearly appreciated Berserk, and turned this game into a passion project, from studying moves and finer details of the manga and even enemy designs. Just look. They even brought the original Japanese dub team from the 97 anime. Speaking of the 97 anime,
alright, who's gonna jerk me off?
Hirasawa returns to compose the music for this game. This game truly is a love letter to the Berserk fans, and honestly Kentaro Miura as well. There are many small things I like to this game, far more that outweigh the negative. As soon as you boot the game, you're greeted with an amazing opening that puts some animes in 2016 and 17 to complete shame. The song Signs instantly captures the feeling and tone. The visuals and reenactments to what's happened prior and what's to come are delivered and executed beautifully. In no way is this the best way to consume Berserk. That crown will always be to the manga. But this is, however, the best video game of Berserk, not that there's much competition. The game does many things right, but not without its flaws. From the first level, you're introduced to almost everything this game has to offer, and that's something this game catches perfectly. It shows how Guts should play, not like this. Every swing you take has weight behind it, but it's balanced to not impede your movement. It captures the real fantasy of playing Guts. The swings are erratic but convey how the Dragon Slayer should feel. Guts throws himself and contorts from the hips to swing his behemoth of a weapon. All basic enemies die in a single hit. As hordes approach, you cut through them like butter, just leaving dismembered limbs and bodies around you. And I can't give enough credit to the sound design in this game. It captures the grittiness and brutality of each swing and hit. Guts has a few items to his kit, and half of them felt good. The crossbow and kunai honestly felt useless. I'm unsure why they're even on a timer. The damage dealt and distance between these two items just felt like I'm actively wasting my time. Although I do appreciate them being in the game, I just wish they had more use. The other two items though capture their use perfectly. Guts' bombs clear small hordes well and can really get you out of a pickle, but Guts' arm cannon has never felt better. From the screen shake to how Guts has to brace himself as he fires, leaving a trail of smoke and haze along with the mist of blood. I really like how the cannon has its use in boss fights, allowing you to win a struggle or caught by a grab freeing you, but dealing massive amounts of damage. It makes you second guess whether or not you should take that shot now, or do I have to savor it? When this meter attached to your health is partly full, you're given the ability to enter into a rage form, allowing the player to unlock Guts to his full potential, with a flurry of swings allowing you to mow through enemies effortlessly. As an activated ability, it feels amazing every time and never is tiring to enter. This ability works great with another mechanic, which is the Brand of Sacrifice. This appears over your health pool and it becomes available after killing a certain amount of enemies. The Brand of Sacrifice is an execution that can be performed on every enemy in the game. You can also use this in boss fights, allowing it to play a quick cinematic that's unique to each boss. I definitely recommend seeking out these cool little moments that the game has to offer. Each boss to this game is great and leagues better than other games with bosses of the same size, especially other games that were released in 2016. They actually react to your attacks, and you'll first notice this with your first boss that isn't the tutorial. Such example is that you can slice Zod's armor, and he will use it as a weapon before reattaching it. Zod even interacts with the environment, like picking up a weapon on the Hill of Sword, allowing him to dual wield, or tossing you into a rock. The parry present in this game isn't a traditional parry, as you can still take damage, which I like since it feels more akin and faithful to Guts' reckless behavior and self-care. When you trigger a parry or counter, you're treated to another special animation, almost making it feel like an interactive cinematic. The game balances all these mechanics while still staying true and faithful to its source material, but most importantly, keeping it engaging and fun. The care to detail between characters, bosses and general enemies blows me away. They recreate manga panels and shots with such care, giving it a chef's kiss to fans, which is even more astounding that this came out 12 years later. Especially after knowing Yuke's career after this game. It's a shame Berserk fans have to dig and seek out a good game that wasn't even released to the West. Instead, they just fed the slop they're given. Could you imagine if this game was readily available to everyone today, but covered the same amount as Koei Tecmo's PS4 title? Even with this game's flaws, I'd sink many hours compared to the handful I gave that title. It's a shame this game only covers such a small chunk. I would have loved to see if Yuke's had an early demo or any cut content throughout its development, to have a level in the Eclipse, or even if there was a studio that finally had the balls to adapt the entirety of the Conviction arc. With all the love and praise I give this game, there are some issues I have to address. Level designs feel bleak and empty between bosses. These maps are just way too big. The goal to each level is to get from one into the other as the game spawns an endless amount of enemies. As pointed out, with how fun the core gameplay is, it ultimately feels tedious and impacts that fun. It boards feeling like a chore. Some levels have minor quests, but don't feel rewarding in the slightest. Honestly, my advice is to just run past enemies as fast as possible and continue progressing. Complete the quests, get out of there. There is one level that'll cause an aneurysm, and I apologize in advance, but honestly, once you reach the Clarkoff maze, just search up a guide or pause the video. You'll easily waste dozens of minutes trying to do it yourself. The other glaring issue I have with this game is its leveling system and unrealistic expectation of grinding XP for numbers that are way too high. But even with these issues and moments where you want to put the game down, it pulls you back in, recapturing everything you like about the game. Nakey Jakey had a recent video about 7 out of 10s, and by God, this is one of them. The absolute highlight of this game is the Berserker armor. This plays exactly how it should, having control of complete chaos. Just visually does not show how much fun this section is. You feel like an utter monster in this, even given new animations to show this isn't a coat of paint. The Berserker armor moves elegantly yet chaotic. I believe it captures exactly what Miura imagined this iconic armor to move like. The joy I felt recreating some of my favorite panels with the parry and execution system. Not only do you feel like a monster, the game delivers it well too. This entire level makes everything worth it. After completing the game, you're welcome to 2 new options. A boss battle mode, which allows you to replay any boss without its level. I love this and wish it was in more games. The other unlocked option is a challenge mode, which unlocks new weapon skins. They're just cosmetic, but these weapon skins you can take across the game, giving you options to look goofy as hell fighting Grumbeld with a guitar or Isido's blade. If I do see another Berserk game, I hope it carries the care to detail that this has. Before I end this video, I want to give a quick shout out to Studio Eclipse, because as mentioned, they're a community-based group creating their own anime adaptation of Berserk. I definitely recommend going to check them out. I'll leave a link in the description. The other person I want to thank is Wesker90, the man behind the fan sub to this. Although not perfect, I can't commemorate them enough to be able to make this playable for everyone else in English. If you've made it to the end of the video, I just want to give a quick thank you and all my love for your support. It honestly wouldn't be made possible without you guys. And as you can tell, I'm still very new at this, but I'm still working out some kinks. And if you want to help support me, there's a number of different ways, from sharing this, subscribing, showing your friends, or if you want to help me out on a more personal level, there's a Patreon attached too, but it's not required.